You're listening to Someone's In, my Fruit Cellar podcast. Listen to Blake and Loni discuss Killer Klowns from outer space.
Welcome to Someone's in My Fruit Cellar podcast.
Where the trapdoor creaks open and horror classics come back to life.
I'm Blake.
And I'm Loni.
Each episode, we dive into the blood-soaked brilliance of classic horror films, breaking down the 10 scenes that sent shivers down your spine and etched themselves into horror history.
From demonic possessions to final girls, we'll dissect what made these moments unforgettable and crank up the dread with the perfect soundtrack to match each one.
And this week, Loni, I watched a couple of movies recently. One was the new Naked Gun. Have you seen the new Naked Gun? Have you seen the old Naked Gun?
I've seen the old one. I've seen the old Naked Gun with Leslie Nielsen.
Anyway, I watched the new, I don't want to give anything away to people that haven't watched it yet, but it was funny, or parts of it were funny, but I just didn't really find that Liam Neeson was the right person to play that role, because he's not really a funny guy, especially because you're used to him in action movies, right? Yeah, I don't know. I just didn't think it was as good. I thought they could have found somebody different for it. But anyway, it's funny. Pamela Anderson's in it, who's well, whatever. But of course, she's old now too, just like I am.
Was she wearing makeup?
Well, yeah.
Well, Pam went through a stint where she just wasn't wearing makeup anymore. So I was just wondering.
He was good in it. I mean, again, acting ability doesn't really matter in the Naked Gun. It's all about the gags and stuff anyway. Like when he says, take a chair, and she says, well, I already got a chair, or whatever, stuff like that. But anyway, it's stupid, but there's some funny things in it. But you can still, if you like the Naked Gun movies, you'd want to watch it. But yes. And then I watched, let's see, I Know What You Did Last Summer. And I was going into this thinking, because Jennifer Love Hewitt was in the others, and she's in this one too. But I was thinking it was just going to be 20 years, whatever it's been, 20 years or maybe more since the other one that they were both in, or that she was in, I mean, with like her, I forget the other guy's names. But anyway, but I know Sarah Michelle Gellar was also in one, but of course she got killed, so she wasn't in this one. But anyway, I thought it was just going to be a new movie, like kind of 20 years later, where I guess they came back to kill him, but it was really kind of like a remake because they had different teenagers who were on a road and something happened. And then they started getting notes saying, I know what you did last summer. And then they went to Jennifer Love Hewitt, who was playing the same character that she did 20 years ago. And they were asking her for help on how to kill the fisherman or whatever. So I didn't really like, even though it was okay when I was watching it, but unfortunately I fell asleep. And I'm not saying I fell asleep because it was boring. I was tired and sometimes I fall asleep.
Understandable.
So I never did actually watch the whole thing. So I'll have to go back and watch it. But I just thought, because Jennifer Love Hewitt, I thought she was going to be like the main star of the show again. And even though I guess she still is, but it wasn't, it was about the younger people more than her. She was just trying to help not get killed, I guess. But anyway.
Oh, so she wasn't the main character in the movie.
Well, at least not before I fell asleep. Because the first, because I'm streaming today and like on TV and I'm watching it and there's like 10 minutes gone. I'm thinking, I haven't seen Jennifer Love Hewitt yet. Is this the right movie? But then I saw what they were doing and they got a note. I know you did last summer. I go, well, this is the right movie. Where the hell's Jennifer Love Hewitt? But then she did come on. And then, so I don't know. She might have been in it a lot more at the end. And also the guy, or I can't remember his name. If it's Freddie Prinze Jr.'s, I can't remember, but whoever the guy was in the original movie, he was also in this one too. And I can't remember. I know Sarah Michelle Gellar wasn't in it, but because, like I said, she was killed in the other one. But he was in. I'm not sure if they're married in real life. Jennifer Love Hewitt and this guy. I just can't remember his name right now. I'm sorry, I didn't write it down. Doesn't matter. So anyway, so what? You have anything to talk about before we start our movie?
Yes. I want to mention that we are looking for people to send us song ideas. We want either people who are in bands, if you have a new release, a new album that's coming out, you want to share your music, or if you just have any ideas of what songs would fit in the movie that we're reviewing, please let us know. Send us a message on Facebook or Instagram. We would love to know what songs you think would fit for the movies and the scenes that we go over during our podcast.
Yeah, and if you send in if you do 10 tracks like we do, send them in and we might read them on a future episode of another podcast. So we get some fan participation in here. And make sure if you do listen to our podcast, please share it. Tell your friends that like horror movies or that like heavy metal or whatever, death metal, heavy metal, hard rock for me, I guess sometimes. But so yes, please share us and please like us and review us if you can and all that stuff. And so we're gonna get a little crazy, not crazy, but whatever. This week this is our 4th episode. And we're gonna do Killer Klowns from Outer Space, since this is one of my favorite movies ever. Now it's not really, I mean, it's a horror movie, but I don't really think anybody can get scared watching it unless you have a fear of clowns, maybe.
And you were 8 years old like me when this movie came out. Yeah, I was pretty scared to go to a circus or a carnival for a long time after I saw this movie.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know. I can't really remember when I probably just saw it. I don't know when I saw it. I mean, I probably saw it when it came out, like on the rental thing. That is, once they started renting it and stuff. Because I don't remember I don't think I saw it at the theater.
It's rated PG-13, isn't it?
Is it? I don't have that.
I believe it is.
But yeah. Okay, I can tell briefly a little bio of the movie. I mean, even though we're going to talk about the whole movie, I guess, but it's a cult classic now because, again, it's another one of those that didn't really do that well at the start, but now it's a cult classic. And it's wrote by 2 brothers, Charles and Edward Chiodo. I hope I'm saying that right. It was released in 1988, and it's about an alien race of clowns. And they like cotton candy cocoons and stuff like that. But we'll get to that. Let's see, it had a shoestring budget of a shoestring. It says shoestring, but $2 million. That doesn't seem like a shoestring. But anyway, they had $2 million. But it became a VHS rental hit and a late night TV staple. And it's just kind of stupid and funny. And it's not really scary unless you're 8 years old, I guess, watching it. I guess it depends how you take stuff. Some of the people in the movie, let's see here. Grant Kramer as Mike Tobacco. I never knew these people's last names till I was writing this down. Susan Snyder as Debbie Stone, and she also was one of the stars of the movie Weird Science, and she was also in Night of the Creeps, and she was on 2 episodes of Seinfeld and Family Ties. Now, I watched Seinfeld like 20 times, 50 times, whatever, all the time. So I'm going to have to go back and look for her because I don't really remember off the top of my head seeing her, but she was in that. We got, let's see, John Allen Nelson is Officer Dave Hansen. John Vernon is Officer Curtis Mooney, and he is a Canadian actor, which I didn't know till today. He has also been in the movie Animal House, Airplane 2, and Dirty Harry. I do remember him in Dirty Harry for sure, with Clint Eastwood. Let's see, we got Royal Dano as Farmer Gene Green. He's been in lots of movies, but none of them were really. But he was an older guy, obviously, when this was made. So he's in a lot of movies. And let's see, Christopher Titus. Do you know who Christopher Titus is? You don't even know who he is at all? Okay, well,
Look, I'm a 80s. I was really young during these times.
Christopher Titus, even though I didn't know he was in the movie, because I know Christopher Titus, he was a stand-up comedian and he did some TV. He had his own TV show called Titus for a couple seasons that I used to watch. And he's in this movie, but he's only in it for like 10 seconds, I think.
Oh, yes.
He's
I know who you're talking about now. Yeah.
He's the guy that they find his glasses later in the movie, which we will get to.
Yes, him. Okay, yes.
He was
yes,
just
in
in the
beginning.
window of a car saying something to
Another Dahmer looking dude. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was Christopher Titus, and I didn't know that till today. Okay, so we'll just get to the movie, and then after the movie we can talk about some other things, or as we go along, I guess. And as always, in case you're a new listener, we divide the movie into 10 parts, and then so we'll read off the part, and then we can talk about it, and then we each pick a song to fit that scene that is different from the songs that came with the album, unless of course that came with the movie. I mean, unless of course one of us wants to pick a song that was actually on the movie soundtrack or something like that. Okay, so we're starting this movie now. I have a title for each section, so this section is called Hornswoggled. Which is okay. So the film kicks off at a burger joint, and you see Captain Mooney, grumpy as ever, as he's not a fan of kids. It doesn't seem like it. And he's on patrol. He spots a teenager casually walking in front of his police car with a beer in his hand, and he mutters under his breath, "Son of a bitch." And then the kid looks at the cop, and he mutters back, "Cops." Whatever. It's just a funny, stupid thing at the start of the movie. Then we go to a place called Top of the World, which reminds me of Inspiration Point on Happy Days, where I guess kids go to make out. Do these places really exist in the United States? Or did they exist?
Not anymore.
Maybe they existed back then.
Back then, yes. Not anymore.
Places to go park and make out or something. So anyway, then we have the ice cream truck pulls up, and that's friends of. Okay, we got Mike and Debbie are the main characters here, so they're at this place in a car making out, I guess, or supposedly that's what they're going to be doing. And so Mike's friends comes up trying to sell some ice cream. There's a couple of big girls in the back of their ice cream truck that are enjoying the ice cream. But the two boys that run the ice cream truck were hoping for a little action, but they didn't get any. All they wanted was some ice cream. So they're sitting there, and then they see a light flash through the sky that they think is like a shooting star or something like that. And then we see Farmer Gene at his house, and he says, "I will be hornswoggled. We're going to be rich, Pooh," as his dog's name is Pooh. And he thinks it's a comment. So he says, I'll be greased and fried," because that's how Americans talk, right? All Americans talk like that. Anyway, so him and his dog Pooh go searching for this comet or whatever they think it is. And then they see a circus tent. So he thinks a circus has come to town. And so him and his dog go look, trying to find the entrance, and they can't find an entrance. And then you see a hole pop in the side of the tent, and then a clown scoops up the dog. You don't really see it. You just hear the dog yelp. And then he can't find his dog, and he's like mad, and he wants to get his dog back. And then he sees a clown, and who shoots him with a ray gun. And do they show him? They just see him shoot him, I think. That was it. So that is our opening scene. Anything you want to add to that I missed or that I talked about too much?
No way. You didn't miss anything but the Terenzi brothers. I felt bad for them. They were just trying to sell ice cream, you know?
Well, I guess people that make out don't like ice cream. Like ice cream.
But the cops, What is it with the cops not liking the Terenzi brothers? What's wrong with them? Are they troublemakers? It didn't seem like it to me.
That cop, he doesn't. I don't think he likes any kids. As we
No.
find out.
His name should have been Officer Moody, not Mooney, but yeah.
Yes, they should have called him that.
Yeah. I love it when they say, Jojo the ice cream clown, we'll give you the stick, you give it a lick, and it'll tickle you all the way down. Want to cool off your hot lips? While everybody's making out. And then the poor farmer, Gene, he loses his dog and he starts to rage. And I also felt awful for him. Some of the things he said, though, were very dated when he was angry. But we also meet the two punks at the police station, those two, and they end up in the prison cell with the clown later on.
So where were they in this part?
They had been arrested, right? They were in the they were at the police station. They got arrested by Officer Mooney. Yeah. Yeah. And then we see Dave, the understanding cop, as well. He tries to talk down Officer Mooney, who's, arrested the punks. And yeah, the meteor crash was quiet, eerie. It was like a quiet night, and then all of a sudden you see a flash through the sky, and it felt like gives it that 1950s sci-fi setup feeling, where all the kids are looking up at the sky with mystery and anticipation, seeing what's going on. And Farmer Gene was the first one to go explore it. He thought he was going to be rich, I think, right?
Well, I don't remember the year. But this reminds me of one of the movies where they have short stories in the movie. I know we probably mentioned the name before, but there was one where there was a comet or something crashing into the ground, and your fellow state person there, Stephen King, had a cameo in this movie. Yeah, Freak Show. Creep Show.
It's one of my favorite movies. Yes.
Yeah, and he kind of acted like this farmer, so I don't know if that's where they kind of.
I got that feeling too. I got that feel where it's like, this is very Stephen King-esque, very Creep Show-esque.
So maybe that was a homage to that or something, because he kind of acted the same way. He was an old farmer and talked redneck kind of farmer kind of thing.
Yes. And he loses his dog. I felt so bad for him. He was so upset about that.
Poor Pooh. Maybe they got him back later. We just didn't find it. I don't know. But anyway, okay. So what's your song for our first scene?
My song was Hypocrisy, Roswell 47, off the album Abducted in 1996. I feel like it gives it that aliens, paranoia, and abduction feeling. It directly ties to the extraterrestrial theme in the movie and gives it that alien invasion vibe and sets the cosmic horror tone right from the start. What did you pick?
That's a good one. Now, I went with a Deep Purple song called Space Truckin', because
that's one of my dad's favorite songs.
Spaceship flying, whatever. So it was kind of hard. Some of the songs were kind of hard to go here because there's not too many songs about clowns and alien clowns. So we get into.
Yeah, we had to dig deep, didn't we, for these songs? That's okay, though. It's worth it.
But anyway, yeah. So Space Truckin'. Okay, now we go to number 2, which I call Clown Tent and Spaceship. I guess it just kind of summarizes it. But anyway, so Mike and Debbie went searching also for the circus tent, and when they do find, or for the light, where the light was, that is, and then they find the circus tent. But Debbie doesn't want to go in because she's scared, because she's a girl. Girls are scared. But Mike, on the other hand, wants to go in, and he says, "Let's go in." So they get in. They ride some elevator-like contraption, and they see this sci-fi carnival kind of world that they don't really know what it's for or nothing. And they keep exploring, and they find some cotton candy cocoons. And then they realize that they just thought it looked bizarre, but then they realize that there's bodies inside. And I think he saw, I didn't write this down, but he saw somebody he knew I can't remember who it was. It doesn't matter, but he saw a face in one of the things. And so they thought, oh shit, we got to get out of here. And then you see a clown come in. So they're hiding. And then when the clown gets finished walking through or whatever, they make it outside. But the clown there's one or two clowns chasing them, right? And then they make up a balloon animal dog. And then it sniffs the trail. And they get away from this balloon dog and they reach the car. They hit a couple of the clowns and peel off to safety. So that's the end of that scene.
Yeah, the circus tent ship had bright neon colors, but it was her, it was her idea to go looking, and then she got scared. But you can see here that there's a lot of circus music tones. It's unsettling because it's out in the middle of the woods. So I would have been scared if I was her too. But she decides to go in. But I think they realize that something's wrong once they get in. They start to realize that something's really wrong. But I would have loved to see a circus tent like that. It looked really colorful and fun.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what he was thinking anyway.
Right.
And he was trying to convince her to think that way until they saw a dead body or a head. I don't know if he was dead or not. I'm not really sure. But
what was unsettling and terrifying was the alien technology that was inside, like the clown technology that they had.
Yeah. Anything else, or you just want to give us your song?
Well, I feel like by the time Mike and Debbie arrive on the scene, at this point, the old man is nowhere to be found. He's obviously in one of those cocoons now. But soon they realize something isn't quite right once they get in there. The inside of the tent is nothing like they've ever seen before. And they get into the elevator. Right? How did that elevator work? They just press the button?
I don't know if it went up or down, but it looked like an elevator. Like the doors opened and they got in it. So I don't know, maybe it just turned around and then opened the doors at the opposite side. I'm not really sure. It didn't really show them doing anything like that, but it looked like an elevator.
They're lucky they escaped because nobody else did. They're lucky they escaped.
Dog looked ferocious.
Right. I wouldn't have wanted to get attacked by that balloon dog. What would that balloon dog would have done when he twisted me up? But they run off and they end up going to tell the police about their bizarre experience, even though they know that nobody's going to believe them. Nobody. Yeah. But I compare, like, if you've ever seen The Blob, it kind of is the same premise in this movie, right? They have, if you're familiar with The Blob, you probably know exactly what I'm going to say. And even if you've never seen Killer Klowns from Outer Space, those opening scenes will probably sound familiar to you because The Blob opens in a very similar way. I kind of got that feeling. And the cotton candy cocoons are creepy. They're really creepy. But the sight of it, like when we do see the humans inside of it, it's horrific. You just see the face. But when they rip it, I don't know.
Okay. And what's your song for this part of the movie?
I chose Bloodbath Eaten because of the cannibalistic menace for the cotton candy cocoon deaths. What did you choose?
Okay, I went with I think this group's Canadian. Yes. Oh, I went with a song called Spaceship Superstar by a group called Prism. Have you ever heard of Prism?
Yeah, I have.
Okay. I think this is off their debut album in 1976. This is old. But anyway, this is one of the ones I really had a hard time figuring out what I wanted to pick for it. So I just went with something with a spaceship, and that's the one I picked. Because I don't know if there's too many. David Bowie has a song about a spaceship, but I went with the Canadian group instead, so I can get one of those.
Yeah, definitely. I like that.
Okay, now the next section, I'm calling it Who Let the Clowns Out, but no, my song is not going to be Who Let the Dogs Out. Just making sure people know that right now. Okay, so right after they escape from the clowns, Mike and Debbie, they drive off, and then the clowns see a sign that says 5 miles towards Crescent Cove. So they start walking, and it seems like a long walk for guys in floppy shoes, but I guess there's no taxis when you're trying to go kill people. So they walk into town, but back in the town, as you said before, Mike and Debbie go to the police station to try to tell them what happened. And they're trying to explain what they saw. Captain Mooney, of course, doesn't buy a word of it. He just sits there dripping with sarcasm. And Officer Dave, who just happens to be Debbie's ex-boyfriend, decides to take them seriously enough to go check it out. And that doesn't sit well with Mooney. He mocks Dave, calling him gullible, and drops that classic line, "Go make a dummy out of yourself, but you're not going to make a dummy out of me."
Yeah.
And
But yeah, later in the movie, though, we indeed find out that Mooney's going to be a dummy.
yes, that line comes back to haunt him. So, do you have anything to add about that part? That was a short one there, I guess.
Yeah, well, they burst into the police station, shaken, frantic, trying to convince the police of what they've just witnessed in the woods. And of course, Mooney, he's convinced that Mike and Debbie are just trying to play a joke to embarrass him. And they mock their story and they dismiss the urgency that Mike and Debbie are desperate. They're trying to let him know and let the cops know that something is really seriously wrong. What a triangle. What a romantic triangle that we start seeing develop here, because Dave is torn between disbelief and concern, and Mooney is openly contemptuous. And the scene is important because it sets up the divide in authority, where Dave brings a stabilizing calm and he's willing to listen to them. So the atmosphere wavers between the comic absurdity of Mooney and the genuine concern of Debbie and Mike. That push and pull between the two officers keeps the mood unstable during the film, and teetering between campy horror and creeping dead. So Mike and Debbie's story about murderous alien clowns feels absurd. In watching the movie, it would seem, if I were to have to run to the police station, I'm sure that they would laugh at me too for coming up and put me in a psychiatric hospital. But it creates that surreal horror. It kind of sets that surreal horror at the beginning of the movie.
Now, he probably wouldn't have, if it wasn't his ex-girlfriend that he obviously still was in love with, he probably wouldn't have believed him either. But since it was her.
Yeah, Dave is the mature police officer. She didn't want to choose me type guy. And, Mike is the fun, bad boy type.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And I think in this section, Mooney does mention the ice cream truck thing because of the clown, right? Because they have a clown on the top of their ice cream truck, and he says it's part of that, and that's what this is. It's just a joke so they can sell more ice cream or whatever.
Yeah, we're not up to the final scene yet, but I think that clown on top of the ice cream truck really helped.
Yes, it does come back to haunt the clowns, actually. Anyway.
Well, I guess the Terenzi brothers aren't as bad as Officer Mooney made them out to be.
No. Okay.
What did you... Oh, I was going to ask you. My song is Carcass, Corporal Jigsaw Quandary. I picked this one because it's frenzied, almost cartoonish gore, gives it that tone, and pairs with the clown mayhem that happens in this part of the movie. What did you pick?
Okay, mine is probably kind of stupid, but my point of the song is to do with Dave being the ex-boyfriend of the girl. So I went with Nashville Pussy Song, The Bitch Just Kicked Me Out.
Oh my gosh, it's been so long since I've heard that band. It's been a long time since I've heard Nashville Pussy. I have not. I'm not listening to that in a long time.
They're still around.
They are?
They're in California this weekend playing with somebody. A few bands.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know they were still around.
Yeah, I don't know if they're making, I haven't looked at to see if they made any new music lately, but they're still playing. They were playing with Buck Cherry. I don't know if Buck Cherry.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And the girl that used to be in the Butcher Babies, Carla Harvey, she has a new band, and they were also playing at the show.
Oh, nice.
California. Now, I don't know if it's a big tour or if it was just 2 nights or something in California. this past weekend. But yeah, I saw Nashville Pussy was on the poster.
Oh,
or whatever.
cool. I haven't heard of them in so long. I lost
So
track
yeah,
of
so I
them.
don't know anything about if they're making a new album or if they've had a new album, but they had a few albums. I like their old stuff, and I think they would definitely fit in this movie. Their songs anywhere probably because
Yeah.
they're kind of rednecky and
Right, exactly. It fits the vibe.
yeah.
Absolutely. Good pick.
So anyway, there, and that's a good song. The bitch just kicked me out. Okay. Scene 4, which I'm calling Close Encounters of the Clown Kind. So we get a little montage now as the clowns have reached Crescent Cove, and we get to see all the stuff they do to scoop people up in their little cocoons after they use the ray guns on them. We have one teenager who stops to watch an innocent puppet show. I'm not really sure. Like this teen, he was probably 18, right? Or 16 or 18. So I'm not sure why he's entertained by a puppet show. But anyway, he stops to watch a puppet show. And then it turns on him as a big clown comes out from behind and shoots a ray gun and vaporizes him. And then we got a couple of clowns wander into a drugstore, and I don't remember the guy's name, but it's like a Walgreens drugstore, even though in Canada we don't have Walgreens, but I know if you're an American listening, you know.
Oh, you know what I forgot to mention earlier? I'm sorry to interrupt
Go
you.
ahead.
There was a Goodwill store at in the first scene. I didn't know Goodwill existed back then.
Oh. I didn't even notice that. But anyway, so they're in the drugstore and they're just looking at all this stuff, making a mess, and the guy doesn't know what to do. And he does later call the cops. So I think that's in the next section, possibly. Or no, maybe let me keep going. Sorry, before. Okay, so and then we also have 3 clowns, and they deliver a pizza to a hot young woman who she seems excited to get a free pizza. But then they open the pizza box, and a mini clown comes out of the pizza box and vaporizes her with a ray gun. And so the hot girl is gone. And then another lady, a bigger lady, not that that matters, but she gets a box of chocolates from a clown, and she thinks her loving hubby sent it. Who I think, did they show the loving hubby sitting watching TV or something? I forget. I think he was there. But anyway, she gets zapped up too. And then we go back to our main crew, and that's Dave drops Debbie off at home because she'll be safer there, or maybe he just wanted to be alone with Mike to whatever. I don't know. I don't want to say what he might be thinking, but so he's with his ex-girlfriend's new boyfriend, who he obviously still loves, the girl, I mean. So anyway, so they return to where the spaceship tent was, only to find, oh, of course, it's not there anymore. But there's a big hole in the ground, and he says that's where it was, right there. And of course, Dave thinks he's playing a joke, and so he puts his handcuffs on him and throws him in the back of the car. And let's see, and then also we get one of the most iconic kills of the movie, as we have a little clown on a little tricycle, and he rolls up to a group of motorbike thugs that are hanging outside a bar, I take it, and one of them comes over to the clown's bike and he smashes it up, and he says, "What are you gonna do?" Then the clown disappears for a second, then he comes back and he's got boxing gloves on. This is Shorty the clown, which I happen to have in my basement, by the way. I have Shorties in my basement watching this podcast. But anyway, the guy, so he comes back and he's laughing at his boxing glove and he says, "What are you gonna do? Knock my block off?" And then the clown knocks his block off, punching him in the head, and then all the bikers run away scared because they're little pussies. And that's the end of the scene. Okay,
so the one thing that freaked me out was when one of the clowns tries to lure a little girl out of the restaurant.
Oh, yeah, I didn't put that in here.
And he's pointing at this little girl and trying to lure her out, and she actually gets past the door, and I don't know if it was her sister or whatever, gets her back into the restaurant. I wonder what would have happened if she would actually went with one of those clowns. That freaked me out when I first saw the movie when I was little. I found it
Yeah.
really unsettling. I think that's what made me scared to go to the carnival after that. But I feel like it set a tone that everyone's a victim. Nobody, we're not just going after teenagers and adults and married people and this or that. Everybody's, a victim.
But that is
of
really
those
the only part in
clowns.
the movie where they show any kids that age, right? Was that
Mm-hmm.
part, right? Yeah,
Just a little girl, yeah.
you're right. They're just showing that it's not just adults that are also killing kids if they can get them out of restaurants or whatever.
Yeah. Yep. I think it gives it that deeply unsettling feeling so the audience knows that these clowns are dangerous. They're not just comical. They're dangerous. And especially going after a group of bikers, you have to be pretty brave to do something like that.
Yeah,
And
that was Shorty, my clown that I have for Halloween decoration. He's like 6 feet tall. So does that mean the other clowns are 10 feet tall? Because he's shorter. Because he was pretty short.
right.
I don't know. He
Slim
wasn't
the
6 feet
Clown
in
is the
the movie.
primary clown, though, right? Slim the Clown is the primary clown.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
Okay.
a whole bunch of clowns in this. Eventually, there's even more that we see in the first half of the movie or whatever.
Right.
Because
There's
kind of
what
at the start,
Jumbo,
it just makes
Batso, Shorty, Rudy, Maury, Spiky, and the female clowns, Rosebutton and Daisy.
oh, they're hot. Yeah. To why they're hot later, I think. But yeah. And that scene there, the knocking the block off thing, that reminds me of one of the Friday the 13th ones
Yeah.
where he's fighting the boxing kid. The guy was a boxer in high school or something, and he was punching him, and then Jason just punched him once and knocked his block off into a dumpster. So I don't know if that was something to do with that or what, but it felt like the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, what's your song for this one?
Okay. I picked Metallica Master of Puppets. I picked that
Oh,
song.
okay.
I thought it fit really well. This
It would
scene.
definitely fit probably this movie too.
The whole entire movie, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's in a lot of movies too. Like it was in Old School, the movie with Will Ferrell. They had it in that movie. It was in, of course, the Stranger Things TV show, and had a resurgence of popularity after I played on that because that was so popular.
Mhm.
But I didn't pick that song for this scene. I did pick another thrash group though. I picked Overkill and their song Mean Green Killing Machine. Because I thought they're aliens, clowns, and there's a lot of green on them, and it's my song. That was from their Grinding Wheel album. But yeah, Overkill's one of my favorite groups too. Well, I have a lot of favorite groups, I guess, and yeah, so there's my song for that one. Next up, we're on to number 5, and now I call this the Puppet Show just because of the one scene that's in this part. But let's see, we're out in the streets. Dave and Mike are driving back to town so he can put them in jail. And they come across, where am I here? Oh yeah, they come across a car. I think they're going past the Mako place again, I believe is where they're going by. Because they find that Dave's glasses in this car surrounded by all this not cobweb, but cotton candy floss kind of stuff that they were saying was they saw inside the spaceship and stuff. So then he starts to think, oh, maybe they're not. Maybe they were telling the truth. So he takes his handcuffs off and they go back. And so then they're going to go back into town and not go to jail, but whatever. So they're back at the police station. Mooney, when he's still by himself, Mooney is by himself and he's being flooded with calls about killer clowns around town, and it's getting him mad every time. And he thinks the whole town's in on this joke. Everybody's trying to mess with him. Even the drugstore guy calls him, and he goes, even him, he's in on it. He's thinking. And let's see, I'm not really sure what the point was, but we have one clown chasing a guy driving a car and makes him go off the road as he's driving his invisible motorbike or something. This clown. Not really sure what that part was in there for, but anyway, that was just in there. And then we have one of the most memorable kills in the movie. And Mike and Dave stop. They see a bus stop. There's a few people at the bus stop, and there's a clown there, and he starts doing shadow puppets on the brick wall there, and he's entertaining the people while they're waiting for the bus. And then Dave and Mike drive up and they see the clown and they stop. And instead of getting out to shoot them, Dave wants to see what he's doing for some reason. He's thinking, I want to see what he's doing. I want to watch his puppet show or whatever. And so then he's making these puppets, these things that you can't really make with your hands. But anyway, and he makes like a dinosaur kind of thing and grabs all the people and kills them, even though it's a shadow thing. But whatever. And it was a funny thing to have. Whatever happened. So anyway, so yeah, he sees that. They tried to go over, I think the kid grabbed the, I don't know, he grabbed the steering wheel or he pushed on the gas or some stupid thing, but whenever the clown went way up in the air and they lost the clown. And let's see. And then what is this? I have something here. Dave. Oh yeah, Dave calls Mooney on the radio saying about the clowns, but he still doesn't believe it. And he says, so screw you, over. Whatever. As he still doesn't believe them. And so, yeah, so I guess that's the scene. What do you got about that?
He's a stubborn man, that Mooney.
Find in every horror movie, cops never believe anybody.
No, they don't. That's kind of the premise. Cops don't believe anything you say.
Yeah.
This is when Debbie is at the house. Now she's at home. Yes. Correct. Because they dropped her off and she's getting ready to take a shower.
Yes.
And she's been hit with the popcorn gun. Now, and it seems almost like a prank, but the popcorn starts crawling all over the floor. And later we see that it turns into these small little clown monsters. And you think that it was part of a carnival gag, but when the popcorn sticks to her clothes, it falls on the bathroom floor and it keeps moving and it shifts around the popcorn. I thought that was creepy. That's really creepy. That popcorn could come to life. But it's not just a goofy weapon. It's alive. I feel like those little things like popcorn moving around on the floor makes you realize that the scene feels more strange and sinister. I never thought that popcorn could be weaponized, but it was in this movie. Because it turns into little clown-headed monsters later on. That T-Rex scene, too, it swallows... What does it do? It swallows people?
Yeah, you could see the shadows of the people on the wall, too, that are watching them. And so it grabs them, and then they disappear from the real street, too.
Yeah.
I don't really know how that was possible, but they are aliens, so they're more advanced.
So now Dave is starting to believe this for sure. Now this is where I think in this scene is where he really starts to believe there's something wrong.
Yeah.
But Mooney's still at the police station and he's getting flooded with calls, like you said, and he's just not having it. He thinks the whole town is playing tricks on him.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I guess those are the only two cops in that town, as far as I can tell. Or I guess there was somebody else that was away or something. Like the chief of police was away. And so Mooney is probably next in line.
Yeah, and I'm still thinking about the punks because we haven't seen them since the beginning and they're still in a cell somewhere.
Yeah, we see them. I think I talk about them in the next scene, I think we do. Or one of the next two scenes we do mention in there. Yeah.
What did you pick for a song for this scene?
Well, now we didn't match song on the same episode, on the same scene, but I had Master of Puppets for this one.
I knew you were going to pick that one. I knew it at least once.
Well, I just thought it goes with the puppet show on the wall.
Yes, absolutely.
He's a master of puppets, right? Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, so what's your song?
I picked Vomitology, the Killer Clown from 2017. Yeah. Anything with clowns in it, I picked.
Well, I won't say. There's another group that did have the title was kind of, I think it might have been about this movie, but I didn't use it. I just didn't know if for sure it was about this movie or not. I'll try to think of that later if I don't forget, but I'll make sure that you don't use one of the songs or something later. Okay, so now we're halfway through the movie. Now we're onto the section that I call Dummy and Dummier. I don't know, I couldn't really think of a good title. So this is, let's see, we get the showdown between Mooney and one of the clowns as the clown comes into the police station and he squirts Mooney with water with a little flower on his lapel or whatever you want to call it. And of course, this makes Mooney mad that this person dressed as a clown puts water in his face. So he, why do I have that? He handcuffs him or whatever. He turns around, handcuffs him, and I guess the clown is okay being handcuffed and arrested, which seems kind of weird. But anyway, but then his hands pop off, so the handcuffs fall on the floor. But whatever, he marches him into the jail cell where we see those other two guys that were in there. And he puts him in the cell and he takes his flashlight and he hits the clown in the back of the head, but it doesn't do anything to the clown because he's so big. And so this kind of scares Mooney, and it's kind of maybe the first moment where he's thinking, oh, maybe something's up here. Maybe these aren't all jokes or something. But anyway, he locks him in the cell with these other two kids.
Right, he kills Mooney, he chokes him, right? So Mooney goes to the cell and he throws the clown into the cell with the two punks, and the two punks look at him and say, "What are you in for?" And then the cop gets choked from the clown's inside the cell, and he chokes him. And
yes, his hands.
That's how he gets out, right?
Right.
Yeah. Well, later Dave arrives at the station. He discovers the cells are now filled with cotton candy cocoons, and you see the red. I don't know what they are. They're like footsteps, but it's almost like a trail leading to Officer Mooney, and proof that Mooney and the prisoners didn't stand a chance at that point. And one of the creepiest visuals in the whole movie is Dave walks into Mooney's office and finds him sitting at the desk being used as a ventriloquist dummy. Earlier, he said, "I'm no dummy."
Yeah,
No,
you're not going to make a dummy out of me, but then
you're not going to make a dummy out of me. And guess what? You're a dummy now. It was kind of satisfying, to be honest. It was satisfying because he's been a jerk this whole time, not believing anybody.
Yeah, now he's dead. And and then Dave opens fire on the clown, but it's not doing anything until he shoots it in the nose. And I guess that's a clown's weaknesses is their nose, because then he like explodes or he spins around.
He evaporates, turns into like this green cloud and just evaporates back where? Into space. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's that scene.
The clown is in the cell. Yeah, the two punks in the cell know there's something weird going on here, but I feel like the atmosphere in this scene is tension and dread, and by this point the clowns have turned from mischievous pranksters to full-on killers. And they are ready to kill. The police station becomes a stage for their menace. And I was surprised, Dave didn't use that killing them and the clowns in the nose more often throughout the movie, but I'm glad that he figured it out.
Well, I guess he didn't really come across any more clowns till the end, right?
That's right. That's true.
Yeah, until we get to
then the Terenzi brothers saved the day with their ice cream truck.
Okay, what song do you have for this? I tried to find a song about dummies, but I couldn't really find any. Maybe you did.
I found Thy Art is Murder, Puppet Master. Yep, that's the one I picked.
Yeah. Now mine, it goes with it, except, okay, I got a Bruce Dickinson song called Shoot All the Clowns.
I like that.
From his Balls to Picasso album. That's I think that was his second album after he left Iron Maiden for that time when he left.
Yeah.
Some solo albums. And even though they really only shoot one clown till later. But anyway, that was it. Shoot all the clowns, because I couldn't really come up with anything else. I tried to find songs about ventriloquists, but I couldn't really seem to find.
They're not easy to find.
No.
It's either like puppets or whatever.
you're a band out there, write a song about a ventriloquist. We need that for our future. So we probably won't need it. But anyway, yeah, there we go. Okay. Next scene, I'm calling it Debbie Does Clowns. Okay, so we got Mike. He teams up with the Terenzi brothers, and the three of them stumble onto clown parade kind of thing, rolling through town, and they're just, instead of picking up garbage, they're picking up the townsfolk and turning them into cotton candy cocoons that they can take back to their spaceship. And then we go back to Debbie's house. Like you said, she was having a shower, so she's done in the shower now. And then those things come out of her clothes hamper, and she's fighting them off. The best thing she could find was a shower head thing to fight them off with. And she, I don't know, she shoots water in his mouth or something, thinking that's going to kill him. I don't know, but whatever. And then, so she escapes to the living room, and then there's a knock. I don't know, there's a knock on the door where there's somebody yelling at the door, and it sounds like Mike, and he's saying, "Let me in, I'm here to help you," or whatever. And then she opens the door, but it's not Mike, it's actually a clown who is also a ventriloquist, I guess, or whatever, as he sounded like Mike. And so they corner her in her room. She gets up on a couch, and then they shoot her. But instead of, okay, I'm not really sure why, but instead of turning her into a cocoon, they put her inside a balloon. Do you know why they put her inside a balloon instead of doing what they do with everybody else in the movie?
Maybe they wanted to turn her into one of them.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Yeah, it doesn't really, there's really no saying about why that happened. So they did know to look for a balloon. I know it made it easier on them to trying to find her, because instead of looking through all the cocoons, they just had to look for a balloon that she was, because they see the clowns attach to the balloon and drive off. And that's the end of the scene. Yes.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, the tiny clowns are a result of innocent popcorn. The whole Debbie and the balloon scene, it seems almost like a carnival trick. Bright, colorful, absurd, comical at first glance. And Debbie becomes imprisoned inside this oversized toy, struggling for air and helpless, as the clowns carry her away. So it makes the scene feel surreal, almost like a nightmare filtered through circus imagery. Debbie's being prepared to be harvested, but we don't, like you said, why did they put her in a balloon? Why didn't they just shoot her and cocoon her right away? Is a question that I also have. But I think either they were gonna, I don't know what their plan was with that.
Well, yeah, they never explained the difference between putting somebody in a balloon. My point, kind of like I just said, it's just so the movie was easier to understand, where, because if they put her in a cocoon with all the hundreds of other cocoons, how are they going to find her? Because they'd have to look at every cocoon until they could find her. But this way, it was, oh, we just got to look for a balloon. Oh, there's a balloon right there. And she was in that one, which we get to, I think, in the next.
Right. Maybe they just wanted to, maybe they understood the story. Yes. It's almost as if they knew Mooney didn't want to be turned into a ventriloquist dummy, and they did it anyway.
Yeah,
maybe they understand the love triangle that's going on between Dave and Mike and her, and they're like, "Hey, look, we're gonna taunt you at this woman."
Yeah, and maybe they're luring them to the spaceship because
they know.
If they thought she's in a cocoon, there's no way we're gonna find her. Let's just give up and not find her. I don't know. But anyway.
Yeah. They're playing games is what they're doing. Yeah. They know these clowns know what's going on with everybody in the town, it seems.
They're smart clowns.
Yes, absolutely.
They're smart alien clowns.
What did you pick for a song?
Okay, well, we didn't match this song again, but I matched the group that you had earlier. I have Hypocrisy. And their song called Abducted.
Yes. I love it.
That 1996 album. Was that the same album as the song?
Same album. Yeah, it is. I love that.
I don't have many death metal albums, but I do have that one. I had that one as well. Just because I was into the alien stuff back then, and that's why I thought, oh, this would be cool. It's about alien abductions. So that's why I got that. So yeah, I have Abducted. So what song do you have there?
Well, I picked Dying Fetus Into the Cesspool, and this is a brand new song, 2025, just released less than 24 hours ago.
Oh,
So,
was it?
yeah,
Really? Okay.
yeah. Into the Cesspool. They're bringing Debbie into the cesspool of cocoon. I mean, she's seeing it. She's there in this balloon thing, but she's seeing all the cocoons again and the clowns around her. So yeah, it's kind of like a cesspool imagery.
Okay. So now the next scene, I'm calling it Cherry Pie, but again, no, I'm not picking the song Cherry Pie by Warrant. Just so people know.
No
Okay.
thanks.
That would be too obvious, I guess. All of that. Now maybe you picked it. I don't know. We'll see.
No
Assuming
way.
not, but yeah.
No way. Not
So
that.
okay, so I guess this town has an amusement park. I guess I don't. Does every town in the United States have an amusement park? I don't know. But anyway, there's a local amusement park, and you see there's a security guard there. And then these clowns come up in their little clown car. And just like clowns do, all these clowns get out of this clown car, more clowns than would really fit in this car, especially clowns the size. And so they get out and they all have a pie in their hand. And the security guard says, "What are you going to do with those pies, boys?" And then, of course, the clowns throw them at the security guard and cover them in in pies. And I guess it's an acidic chemical or something in the pies. Yep. And it melts down on top of them. And then there's a big pile. And then Shorty, I believe it is, clown comes over and puts a cherry on top. That's why I call the section Cherry Pie. And so with the guard out of the way, they go into the park where their spaceship now is. I guess they flew it from where it was. So maybe they didn't walk into town. Maybe they flew into town, even though they showed them walking into town. So that doesn't make sense either. But anyway, it's relocated there in the town. And Mike, Dave, and the Terenzi brothers are chasing them. Oh, first, they didn't put this in here, I guess, but Mike is in his Dave is in his cop car, and Mike is in the ice cream truck, and for some reason he slams on the brakes, and so the cop car smashes into the ice cream truck, so the cop has to get in the ice cream truck with them. And so then they go and they follow these clowns because they see the balloon that Debbie's in. And let's see, and so they're in there, and the two brothers, the ice cream guys, are kind of a little weird, I guess you could say. And they're fooling, even though death is looming in the air, they're like fooling around and stuff. And then they fall into a big pit of balls, kind of like at your McDonald's store or whatever. I don't know. They have those at all McDonald's. I don't know, but a ball pit thing.
Chuck E. Cheese. That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Yes, like Chuck E. Cheese. And so they fall in this pit, and then they look up, and then there's two girl clowns that you mentioned earlier. And did I put that in this song? I'm going to say it now in case I don't have it later. But then their boobs grow. Oh, it is here. Yeah, their boobs grow several sizes as they sit there, which is definitely an alien magic trick, I guess. And then the guy says, "Are you Debbie's roommates?" And that's the end of the scene.
Yeah, the best part of the whole pie scene is when the clown places the cherry on top of the security guard, who's obviously melted because the pies are acidic. But the idea of clowns attacking someone with pies, it seems harmless at first, but then it's definitely one of those slapstick gags in the film. It seems goofy and fun. And when the clowns approach the security guard, they approach him with exaggerated politeness as well. They're really polite at times, but I think that's how they hurt people too, is that they're like, we're harmless, but now we're going to hurt you with something. And you wouldn't think that pies would be acidic, but they were. But the cherry on top, maybe that could be another reason why you titled it Cherry Pie.
Yeah, that is why I called it that.
Yeah.
Even though it wasn't a pie, I guess. It was, well, there was pie. Yeah, there was pies thrown to make the pile, and then they put a cherry on top. So yeah, I call it cherry pie.
Frenzy brothers are really the heroes in this. We're starting to see that they're the heroes in this film. They're going to save Debbie.
Yes, but yeah, I think that's in my next scene. So what song, do you have a song for this scene then?
Yeah, I do. I have Feast of Flesh, Carnival Cannibal, off their 2016 album Carnival Cannibal.
Carnival Cannibal. It's hard to say.
Is this the scene where the clowns are slurping on the cocoon?
I think that comes also in that's in the next. That's the next
scene. Okay, I'm mixing them up.
I got it. The next one. So.
Yeah.
And my song is "Into the Pit" by Testament, because the brothers fall into a ball pit. And that's all I got. That's from the Testament's The New Order album, which I think is their second album. Doesn't matter, but I think it's 1988 if you want to check it out. It's a good song. And also fits into my website, The Metal Pit. But anyway. Okay.
I saw Testament in 2017. I saw them at the Bangor Waterfront concerts with Slayer. It was great.
That was Slayer's first farewell tour?
Yes. The first farewell tour, yes. And that's why I thought I have to see them because they're not going to do this again. And then 2 years later, we're going on tour again.
And they're playing again soon or something.
Yeah.
I saw that too. I think I missed. I think I screwed up the time of the concert I went to, and I don't think I think I did see Testament, but there was like 5 bands there at the one I could have went to, or the one I did go to, but I missed Lamb of God, I think was first or something.
Yeah, I saw Lamb of God that time too.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Anthrax, I think. Anthrax.
Yeah. That was great.
And so, yeah, I missed Lamb of God and maybe somebody else, but I think I did see Testament, Anthrax, and Slayer. And I've seen Testament a couple other times in the past too. I saw them with Death Angel and
nice.
And I can't remember who the other group was. It would have been, it was Anthrax too, yeah. Back then. Okay, anyway. Next section, I'm calling this the fun house, as we're inside the we're inside the amusement park, but we're inside the spaceship, I guess. And Mike and Dave have found where the clowns have been storing their victims, which is what Mike and Debbie saw earlier in the movie, I guess. So there's hundreds of cotton candy cocoons. It's a good thing Debbie's not in one of those, that they would never find her. And so they search for Debbie, and they know she's in a balloon because Mike saw it. And let's see, though, one of the clowns enters, so they hide behind these the pods or whatever. And then the clown sticks that crazy curly straw, whatever, into one of the cocoons and slurps up the red liquid inside. I'm assuming that's blood. I don't really.
I wonder what that tasted like.
Probably like cotton candy. I don't know. But anyway, and he has a loud burp after he finishes his slurping. And then then he leaves again, and then they find the balloon with Debbie in it, and Officer Dave shoots it with a gun. He shoots his gun to break the balloon open, because I guess it wasn't a regular balloon, because I guess they couldn't just pop it with their fingers, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, so they get out, and then they're trying to escape. So they hit a hallway lined with doors, open one, and there's a door. And then they open that door, and there's another door. And then they open that door, and there's another door. And so I don't know how many doors there was, but they finally get to where there's no door. And all this time, Dave is shooting at them, but I guess he forgot to shoot at their nose, as he's just shooting blindly. And he's sure had a lot of bullets in his gun. But anyway, we're not going to get into that. And so they escape that room and go into another room, and that's where I ended that scene, is right there. So we're still not to the part where the ice cream truck saves. That's coming up next.
This is the funhouse battle.
Yes.
It's surreal carnival nightmare. Oversized props, cotton candy, cocoons all over the place, candy-colored walls, bizarre traps. that create that psychedelic and claustrophobic atmosphere in this part of the movie. And Officer Hanson, right? That's who he was.
Forget it, his
Dave.
last name, Officer Dave. That's what I.
Yeah. Yeah, he uses a Winchester Model 87 shotgun when the protagonist searches the clown's spaceship in this scene. I feel like the clowns closing in on them create a claustrophobic feel in this part of the movie, but I'm glad that now Debbie, she's freed from that balloon. So there's some hope that she's going to survive at this point in the movie, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
She can continue her love triangle.
If they survive this movie, they'll be really close.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Who knows what's gonna happen?
And Dave had poor Mike sitting in the back in the beginning when after they had dropped Debbie off earlier, he made him sit in the back. He really doesn't like Mike. So
yeah, he watched them kiss goodbye and stuff too.
Yeah, he was creeping around.
And I'm sure in this scene when they're running, I'm sure he called her honey or something too once, but I didn't write that down. But I'm sure Dave, he called his ex-girlfriend honey or baby or something. Thinking, don't you know her boyfriend's right beside you? But anyway,
he's really trying hard to get her back.
Yes. But anyway, so anything else on that one, or what's your song for that one?
My song is Obituary, Slowly We Rot. It's a rotting, eerie atmosphere. We're seeing all the cotton candy cocoons. It reminds me of the when the Circus Funhouse is discovered, and of course the Funhouse battle that's happening. And the Slurpee, the clown that slurps through one of the, I don't know if they're rotting in there or if they're preserved in those cocoons, but
yeah, they don't really say anything about the point of anything. Really.
Yeah.
Like
very
if that's
slapstick
food,
humor.
if that's food for them or something, and like
I'm
when they're done
thinking,
with the town, were they planning on going to another town to do the same thing, or were they going back to their planet? I don't know. So we don't really know any of that kind of stuff.
We don't really know why humans were on the menu for these clowns, but they were.
I thought aliens were friendly.
What was your song?
I have another Canadian group here, Annihilator, and I picked their song called Fun Palace.
Nice.
Which isn't about a spaceship, I don't think, and it's not about clowns, but it is about a horror kind of thing. And it's whatever, it's from their 1989 album, Never Land. But yes, Fun Palace, I thought fit that. Welcome to the Fun Palace. That's what they say in the song. So that's where it goes. Okay.
Yeah, it fits.
Now the last scene, which I called Survive by a Nose. Okay. So just when I looked, so Mike, Debbie, and Dave in the last scene, they broke out of that one room and they get into another room, but then all these clowns start coming towards them, clowns that I don't think we've really seen in the movie yet necessarily. And so they're surrounded by clowns and they climb on top of something, I forget, blocks or something, as I guess clowns can't climb, I guess, kind of like zombies can't climb or zombies can't swim or something. I don't know. But these clowns couldn't get to them. And let's see. Where am I? Oh, then the Terenzi brothers crash through this when they think they're done for. The Terenzi brothers crash through the wall, I guess, after having sex with those two clowns, female clowns with big boobs, maybe. I don't know. So they're on a high. So they drive the ice cream truck through the wall. They talk on the loudspeaker from their truck, and they act like they're the clown that's on top of their truck, and they're acting like they're the supreme leader of the clowns. And so when it's working, the clowns are backing off from these people. But then Jojo the Clownzilla shows up out of the ground or somewhere, whatever. And he's like a massive clown, and he's like King Kong sized clown. And he goes right for the truck. He rips it up and hurls it like a toy, and it explodes with the brothers inside. So they're obviously dead. And then let's see. And then Jojo grabs Dave and he's holding him just like the King Kong would in that old classic King Kong movie. He's holding him like he would hold the girl in that King Kong movie. And Dave I don't know. Does he have his, or he dropped his gun, didn't he? I think he dropped his gun. So he didn't know what he was going to do. So he grabs his police badge and shoves the pin into the clown's nose, which of course makes him explode. And so when that happens, I guess because that clown is a leader, I don't know, but the spaceship starts spinning, and let's see, Jojo explodes. Like I said, the tent erupts in a massive fireball, and everything comes crashing down to the ground. And there's all these other cop cars that arrive from other cities now, but they're just kind of standing there doing nothing. But anyway, they're all standing there waiting with Mike and Debbie. And then a clown car comes flying through the air and crashes to the ground. The door pops open and Dave emerges. He's alive. And then even more shocking is the Terenzi brothers also climb out of the car too, as they're still alive. And then, so you think the nightmare is over, but then the whole gang gets pelted with pies from the sky. But I don't think they're acid pies because they didn't die. Or did they die? I don't think so. So that's kind of the end of the movie.
Finally, the ice cream truck comes in handy in this film, besides hauling around big girls, right?
But they rented that truck. Okay.
Yeah, I feel like the scene is cartoonish, undercutting drama. And when the pies start to drop, it makes the audience wonder, are the characters still in danger? What's going to happen? Or is it just goofy humor? The scene closes like this story, like a carnival curtain dropping. And it's playful, strange, a little unsettling. And it reinforces that the world of killer clowns is absurd, but still threatening. What happened to the cotton candy cocoons once the show is over? Do they end up back in space? Do they...
Yeah, well, didn't it blow up? It blew up, didn't it? So I guess all the townspeoples must be all dead then, right?
Yeah.
Except for Mike and Debbie and the brothers and the cop. And then the other cops that were there too, just standing there watching. But yeah, there's really no story or moment of saying that all these people survived, or if they're all dead, or if they're all just, I don't know, went up into space.
Yeah.
So we don't really know, I guess.
Yeah, we get the Clownzilla finale here.
And what's your song for the last scene?
I picked Decapitated, Carnival is Forever.
Okay. I picked Van Halen. Do you know what Van Halen song I might have picked?
Which one?
Ice Cream Man.
I knew it. That's so good. See, we always say that we have difficulty finding songs, but we end up doing well anyway.
Well, there's not that much. There's really no ice cream, I guess, in the scene, but the ice cream truck's in it. They're ice cream men, I guess, not ice cream man.
We're the Terenzi brothers. When they come out of the truck, they have popsicles or ice cream, and they're licking it, making a joke out of all of it. I mean, how could you be still finding humor in a situation like this? But they do.
But they also had big lipstick things on their faces too, right?
Yeah.
So they obviously made out, like I said, with those female clowns. So that's why they were feeling so good, because they must have had sex with them.
They're pretty sad. They wanted nothing to do with the actual girls that were in there in the beginning of the movie, saying, we're not gonna, we're not like that. But they make out with the clowns.
Yeah. Okay. So do you have some I have some things here. Do you have some I don't know, fun facts, I guess we're calling them?
Yeah, the cotton candy cocoons were made of fiberglass insulation. Imagine that. They must have been itchy when they were playing around with that stuff. It was coated in a shiny pink material. The actors inside reported it was itchy and uncomfortable, but it looked convincingly sticky and eerie in the film, so that's why they used it. And then during the popcorn attack, the killer popcorn was animated using stop motion effects and puppetry. Some of those popcorn creatures were simply rubber pieces jiggled on wires. So the balloon dog, The balloon animal Bloodhound was a real inflated balloon twisted and then puppeteered from below with invisible rods. The clown masks. Each mask was a hand sculpted latex creation with exaggerated features to balance comedy and horror. And actually, some of those were later altered for Ernest Scared Stupid in 1991. That movie. The shadow puppet scene, the gag where the clown makes a shadow puppet that comes to life, was created using optical effects and rotoscoping mixed with live action crowd shots. Some of the car stunts, the car chase scene, ice cream truck, they were filmed using miniatures because the budget didn't allow for expensive destruction. What do you got?
Okay, now I read, I don't know if I made a note of this, but yeah, they rented all the vehicles that they used. They rented them so they couldn't wreck them. But where is that? Oh yeah, the Jeep filled with cotton candy cocoons it had some damage, so it had $3,000 worth of repairs after solvent in the material damaged the interior. I guess that's when they found the guy's glasses, Christopher Titus's glasses there or something like that. Let's see. In the film's original finale, I guess, Dave was killed in the clown ship, but after audience test screenings, they desired a more upbeat ending, so that's why Dave survived, I guess, is what they said.
Oh, interesting.
And let's see, the popcorn gun used by one of the clowns in the film, it included a compressor that would allow the weapon to actually propel popcorn. That was the most expensive prop in the movie, and it cost $7,000 to create. And it took 6 weeks to build it, I guess. And this movie was made in California. And it was just going to be called Killer Klowns originally. It wasn't going to be called From Outer Space, but people thought they might think it was a slasher film, so they thought they better add in the From Outer Space part. And let's see, is there anything else? I don't think Cotton. Let's see, Lobo already did that. Oh, the dummy scene. Officer Mooney is a dummy. That was actually him. He was just sitting perfectly still and looking freaky as a puppet, because that was all real. And there has been rumors about a sequel, but there was like rumors a long time ago, I guess, and since the early 2000s, but we're still waiting on a sequel. Now, they are big on Halloween store, the pop-up Halloween store. The name is forgetting me right now, but there's a lot of Killer Clown stuff they sell there. That's why I have a clown in my basement. I have a bobblehead clown in a toilet. I have some Killer Clowns cups, so they really benefited on that from this movie, even though this movie is whatever year it was, 88, I think I said. Yes, 88.
I wonder, it's like they cut corners. 2 million seems like a pretty big budget for 1988.
Yeah, and it said it was a low budget, but that seems like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, for 1988, 2 million, especially with the other movies that we've done, like Evil Dead and those ones, their budget was really tiny comparing to this.
Yes. And there's also a video game of the Killer Klowns from Outer Space that I noticed I think it came out last year, but you have to play it online with other people. Like it's not you can't just play it by yourself. You have to be online with other people. And I think it's kind of like the Friday the 13th video game where you can either be the clowns or you can be the people getting away from the clowns. I think. There's also an Evil Dead game. I don't think I mentioned that when we did Evil Dead. There's also an Evil Dead video game too, but I haven't played that either. But I just thought I'd mention that. So I think that's all we got for that movie. That was a good movie. Yes, it's a funny movie and just stupid. And kids, like our Halloween when we have the clown out, and I have other things out, but the people love the clown. Some people are scared of the clown. Some of the kids are scared of the clown because it does move. It moves around or whatever. And it'll
That's
play,
cool.
if you have the volume up, it'll play clown music, but I usually don't have the volume up because we have too many kids. It was just too annoying. But
It's
they'll
a really
say,
colorful cartoon-like movie, and it's
yeah,
goofy.
but they'll ask what the clown's from, and so my wife is usually the one answering the door, and I told her, tell them it's from the Killer Klowns from Outer Space. So I've probably helped this franchise myself, my little talent.
Absolutely. And plus I think it was rated PG-13, so it's
Yes.
appropriate
Yeah,
for
I can't
kids.
remember. I can't remember if I did see it at the theater or if it was wait until I got it on VHS, which was back then. But anyway, so that was a fun one. So what movie are we gonna do next, Lonnie?
We are going to do The Thing.
The Thing, and we're gonna do the original Thing, right? There's
Yes.
two things
The original Thing, The Thing.
with
Yes.
Kurt Russell. That's his name, right? Kurt
Yes.
Russell. Yes.
Yes.
What was I
That should be a
watching?
really good one to do.
Yes, there's no women in it though.
I know, but I love that movie. I've been wanting to do this one for a while.
Yeah, so I'll have to, yeah. So make sure, so if you're listening, make sure you watch The Thing. Try to think of some songs that would fit The Thing. I'm already
Yeah, and
thinking about the thing that should not be, but it probably shouldn't.
send us your song ideas.
Yes.
And if you have new music, new releases, a new album coming out, you want to share, you think it fits with some of the scenes and the movie, send us a message on Instagram or Facebook.
Yes, make sure you, follow us on Instagram. Someone's in my fruit cellar, I think is the name of it, because that's long enough title as it is. Left the podcast part out, but yes, and you can find us there. If you go to the metalpit.org, my website on heavy metal, that's the podcast is also shown there on the main page. So you can find it there too. And like I say, we're everywhere you listen to podcasts. And it's also the audio version. Well, this is an audio version too, but audio version is also on YouTube under the Metal Pits YouTube channel, but you can find it there too. So yes, please subscribe and comment maybe and rate and share it with your friends and tell everybody and send us song suggestions like she says, or movie suggestions too. Maybe there's a movie you think we should do an episode on sometime, and we'll do that.
Absolutely. Send us your music and movie suggestions. We would love it.
Okay. Thanks everybody for listening. And thank you, Lonnie.
Thank you, Blake.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
You were listening to Someone's in My Fruit Cellar podcast. Subscribe and rate our podcast wherever you listen to our podcast. Podcast edited by Blake. Visit our socials. Till next time.